Body language. There's so many studies and talks we've watched about the importance of nonverbal communication. I'm not bringing up any of these studies or anything, but the point is, if everyone's talking about body language, I might as well too. That's why in this week's episode of Master Talk, we're going to be going over the 5 don'ts of nonverbal communication. Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. Brendan from Master Talk here, your go-to channel to mastering your talk. And today we're covering movement and body language. So let's get into it. One caveat before starting. The reason why I'm focusing on what to avoid rather than what to do is for 2 reasons. The first one is that body language can easily be fixed if you understand the common mistakes. And the second reason is if you don't fix them, there's going to be huge penalties for you in presentations. So with that in mind, let's get into it. Number 1, never point. There's a great TED Talk by Allan Pease that I'll be putting in the description. But the summary here is by pointing at people, you look very aggressive. You're not asking for my attention, you're demanding it. You're saying, listen to me, listen to my orders, and this is what we're going to do. Instead of persuading your audience with open palms and open arms and welcoming them into your ideas that you want to share with them. So instead of pointing, a great way to fix this is to just point like this. So instead of pointing straight, you point with a little change in your fingers. And this serves the same purpose, but isn't as aggressive as this. So point, but don't point. Number 2, the hand freeze. You glue all of your hands to your body. I know you only have 2 hands, but hear me out. When you're hand freezing, you're not using them as a leverage to reel in your audience with the movements. By hand freezing, you're losing the communication with your audience that you can only get with your hands. So the point is, if you're someone who doesn't like to use hand gestures, my advice is to try and do it a bit. So before, when I used to present, I used to use hand gestures way too much. But now what I do is I bring them closer to my body. So let's say I'm giving a workshop, let's say I'm talking about a topic, I'm moving my hands slowly and not as much as I used to. So that's a good way for you to practice hand freezing and start to thaw away the ice. Number 3, now it's the complete opposite. The hand ninja. When I started presenting, I was a big proponent of this. I would give amazing talks with my vocals and changing emotions, but my hands would be all over the place. That would be so confusing for my audience to follow, like so. Let's say I'm presenting something and I'm giving a workshop and I lose my audience completely. Back to the hand freezing, where you don't use hand gestures enough. With hand ninjas, you need to start using hand gestures a lot less. So I went from this to this, to this, and to this. So by limiting your hand gestures closer to your body, create a radius around you, you'll be able to control your hand gestures and slowly become exceptional at balancing both of those perspectives. Number 4, never ever turn your back to your audience. And the reason is simple. In eye contact, we learned that it's important to use our eyes to maintain an emotional connection with our audience. But if we're 180 and we're not looking at the audience, then in that case, they can't connect with us. That's why it's important, especially in rooms where you have a 180, where there's audience members on the right side all the way to the left. You need to make sure that you put yourself in a position where you don't have to turn your back to anybody, all the way in the front. Because if you start turning your back like this, and you do it for too long, then your audience over there feels disconnected from you. So you need to be very strategic about the way that you move your body so that everyone is included in the conversation. And finally, number 5, simple one to end the video, never put your hands in your pockets. I know everyone says that, but I'm going to tell you why you should never do it. The reason is because we don't see your hands. And when we don't see people's hands, we generally think, what are they hiding from us? Why is Brendan putting his hands in his pockets? Is he trying to get something there? We get distracted from the audience's perspective. That's why, even if you're not hand gesturing a lot, you want to make sure that your hands are available for your audience to see. So it doesn't look like you're hiding behind something, but rather that you're open-minded, you're confident, and you're there to connect with your audience. So keep that in mind when mastering movement. All else to say is body language isn't something you should be too worried about, but rather something that can easily make your presentations better if you avoid the common pitfalls. And if you can master that, my friends, you'll be able to speak in a very different way. As always, if you enjoyed this week's episode of Master Talk, be sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well to see more videos like this. And by mastering body language, you'll be able to master verbal and nonverbal. Take care and see you next time on Master Talk.